Good afternoon. Hard to believe, you know, we were here 12 months ago. It just seems like the other day. And in that brief period, we've taken an empty paddock and created what you just saw then and actually completed our first lactation. It's just been an extraordinary year, just the most tremendous progress. And probably I should, mention the people that have contributed to that. Jake and I had a vision, but we're not big in the construction industry. We understand a lot about genetics, but not construction. We had a bit of help. I know the guys that did make this happen, some of them are here today, Grant and Jason from GEA and Dan from Mainland Engineering. Just a tremendous job they did with help of John Perrin and Grant Ebert, project managers. Just tremendous. And the people that actually do the work on on farm. Katie and Jason, our managers, are here, and Marion, one of our genetics team, who spent a lot of time on farm as well. Just the most incredible progress. But, before we focus on the farm, I'd just like to take a step back and just to re-emphasise a couple of points already made today. Nick said this morning, it's got to start with the consumer, and I can't agree more. We've just got to emphasise that fact. It's got to start with the consumer, and everything we do has to be with the consumer in mind. Following on from that, the points that Andrea made that I thought were just tremendous, which absolutely resonated with me in terms of what I think of as the provenance of the product, and I think about the features and potential benefits of the product we produce as a food, and you make a list of them, and it could be quite a long list of what's potentially important to the consumer, and some are and some aren't, but there are some things which are universally regarded as positive in milk and dairy. The level of nutrient in the product, the taste and mouthfeel, the fact that it might be or may not be grass-fed, free-range farming, A2 beta-casein, no GMO, maybe no PKE in the system, the animal welfare standards. Is it a non-bovine product because maybe you have trouble digesting bovine product? The environment, all of these things, if you make a list and you make alongside 3 columns, cow, goat and sheep, the only column that you can put a tick on every line is sheep. Sheep milk. It has everything going for it. And we need to distill what's really important to the consumer and make sure we deliver that. And we're extremely conscious of it. Just moving on to one of the later presentations, I have to also agree with Julie. She made a point about the value of milk. Julie may have been alluding to the cost of producing it and saying that $2 is not enough. We tend to agree. We aspire to pay more like $3, and we do need more milk. We're actively seeking more milk right now. But of course, that has to be justified based on our ability to generate value in the market. Cost is one thing, generating value in the market is another, but with the attributes of the milk we've got, I believe that must be possible. Now, just to focus for a moment on the farm environment, nobody at scale, there's 3 of us in New Zealand that have been involved for a little while now, farming at scale with a focus on the export market, Blue River, Spring Sheep and Maui Milk. And none of us have achieved anything like the level of productivity that we know we need in future. But there's certainly some of us that have a plan as to how to get there. And we're reasonably well advanced in the planning stage, and we've even got some runs on the board in terms of some of the execution of that plan. Now we just need to see some sheep of a quality that'll do justice to the infrastructure that you've just seen in that video. We're certainly making some progress on that front. If we look at productivity levels internationally, those farms in New Zealand at scale, nowhere near there yet, but we can see the way forward. And when we look at what's important and what you need to achieve that, we can see absolutely no reason in the world why we can't achieve it. We have the climate, we have a more temperate climate, a more climate better suited, I think, to sheep milking than some of the areas overseas where they farm in very arid environments or extreme continental climates, hot and cold and so on. We have the soils. We never used to have the genetics, but we have the genetics now. We landed one plane load last year. We landed semen from 45 different sires, every one progeny tested, and the result of decades of genetic improvement in France, the place we regard as the centre of the universe for dairy sheep internationally. We have the infrastructure, absolutely world-class infrastructure, much of it brought in from overseas, developed by those industries overseas that have been operating at scale for some time. That internal rotary you saw, at this stage we'd have to say if we were going to do another one, we'd be doing another one of those. We're very pleased with the labour efficiency, and that's really important because labour is not just a function of X number of people times X dollars an hour. Where do you find that many good people? And who wants to manage a whole lot of people anyway? And then on top of that, you might have to accommodate them or arrange their transport and so on. So, we think that's been tremendous. We've got the crops in place. We've got, our lucerne is looking fantastic. The plantain's looking good. We know how to grow grass and clover in this country. We need knowledge. Our friends overseas have got about a 2,000-year head start on us there, but we're flying in that knowledge. We had 8 people from France working on this farm over the past season. We had one from the UK. We've got a guy from Italy who comes highly recommended after time that he spent working on dairy sheep, with his background in Italy, having worked in the UK. He's coming to work with us in the coming season, and we will be recruiting more people from France again, for a number of reasons. But the people we had come in and work with us this year, every single one of them was tertiary qualified, educated from a dairy sheep farming family background, and could arrive here and hit the ground running. The fact that we didn't even speak the same language is kind of irrelevant. If you're into dairy sheep and you know what you're doing and you've got the work ethic and you've got a passion for it, it doesn't matter that you have to fumble with some of the communication. So we're delighted with progress on that front as well. But as I said before, what we need is volume in this business. We need volume for 2 reasons. Initially, we need volume just to get some decent batch sizes so we can get our costs down. Secondly, we need volume to satisfy the market. We're not corporate farmers. We don't aspire to be corporate farmers. In Maui Milk, we have one farm, which is the Waiturikoto Trust Farm. But we have our first new independent, if you like, third-party supplier, which happens to have been funded by one of our joint venture partners, but which is a third-party supplier to Maui Milk. Now we want more. So in these 2 farms, one of them is a fully outdoor, fully extensive system with no barns. The other is a hybrid system, but it is very much a grazing system. That farm is Waikino Station in the western bays of Lake Taupo, right on the edge of the lake, stunning views across the lake. We believe it's in a great region for sheep dairying. It's got the free draining pumice soil, which is great for the feet. It's got low facial eczema challenge. Their farm has got scale, it's got the topography. We've now got the infrastructure, we've got the genetics right there on the farm. We've yet to put the cups on them, but we will be doing that in a few months' time, because last year we did 2,500 AI and implanted 450 embryos from Europe. We have new bloodlines from the East Frisian, from the UK. We've sourced some Awasi from the Saudi operation in Hawke's Bay, and we have this huge stock of the most advanced Lacone genetics in the world, and we're bringing more in this year, which are different sire lines again. So in addition to the 45 we already have, we regard ourselves as breed agnostic. Jake and I are interested in doing what we've worked on in the past. When I was responsible for the genetics business at LIC, I had a lead role in creating the Kiwi Cross bull team, which is now responsible for 40% of the AI. For LIC now. It's a situation where what you're getting is genetic diversity and hybrid vigour, and you're broadening your genetic base to the point where you can then just extract from the maximum gene pool what it is that you need. Personally, I can't understand why people get excited about talking about purebred as for one particular breed. It's just so limiting when you can have not only greater genetic diversity but more hybrid vigour, and that's what we're setting about doing and creating the what we call Southern Cross dairy sheep, Northern Hemisphere genetics bred for New Zealand conditions. The last thing I want to say is that we have a tremendous opportunity right in front of us now, a tremendous opportunity to offer somebody, and that is a role working on this farm. We're all about pastoral sheep farming, so people that have a background in dairy cattle farming in New Zealand, or traditional sheep farming in New Zealand, possibly dairy goat farming in New Zealand, all of these backgrounds have something to offer what we're doing. We learn from all of them, and we learn from overseas as well. We're looking for probably someone younger than myself, but I don't want to be too prescriptive on that. We're looking for somebody that's enthusiastic, educated, hungry to learn, someone with a genuine interest in genetic improvement and farm system development, somebody who's interested in getting involved in the full range of activities on farm, milking, mustering, lamb rearing, weighing, cropping, nutrition, everything. I'm talking about a high-tech genetic program There's 3 of us that work in this enterprise who have very strong backgrounds in genetics. It's the one thing that we pride ourselves on and that we expect to take a lead in is genetic improvement. And, I think, the opportunity for a person to work in an enterprise like this is just tremendous, because no matter where they come from and where do they go to in future, and if there's a future for this industry, this is a position that will equip somebody within the space of probably 2 or 3 years to be fully able to be a farm manager in their own right and ride that wave. Or should they decide to go back to dairy goats, cattle or traditional sheep, they'll still benefit enormously from this opportunity. So if you know somebody that's fits that description, then put them in touch, because this opportunity is there for the taking right now. We're about to start advertising it, and obviously we'd be delighted to hear from people with that sort of background. Beyond that, if you're interested in supplying milk, Julie, what'd you say? You got 700. We can send a truck down and we'll get you re-established in the beautiful Central Plateau in no time at all. And if there's any others who would like to talk seriously about supplying milk or sourcing genetics, rams. I know some rams are out already, but they're not all out. We need more dairy sheep being bred. We've got the genetics now. So you come and have a word to Jake or I, and we'll sort something out. Anyway, we'll look forward to spending the evening with you. Cheers.